your business or your job won't be ruined or taken or outcompeted by artificial intelligence. It'll be your competition using it. So I founded a company called Implement AI, and we've got a framework where we help companies kind of understand really what that continuum looks like, and it is a continuum. We call it AI assisted. So for 250 years, since the pre-industrial revolution, even humans use various tools, but it was basically human first. Really, we were the ones. It was kind of our cognitive labor, especially. Kind of did a lot of work on displacing our physical labor, but cognitively it was very much human first. And now we've entered an age where you read about AI quite a lot. AI has been around for 50 years. Machine learning, in terms of research, maybe 10 years in terms of machine learning. But since the beginning of this year, probably end of last year, these new large language models, diffusion models, have essentially changed the way we can communicate with technology. So what you're seeing now is a period where we are going to become, and by we I mean us personally and organizations, are going to become AI assisted. So in that period, software first, so that kind of cognitive labor, knowledge work, the information economy, you're going to find that your organizations, your employees, they can be very much sort of superpowered. And robotics is slightly different. So eventually, artificial intelligence is going to go mobile. So what we often get confused about is the time frame, and it's very hard to see more than maybe 2 years out. There's like a fog, but what you can be assured of is that there is huge change coming. This is not moving from mainframe to network PCs. This is not moving to the cloud. You can take 10 years on that journey if you want to. This is happening very quickly. We always say that it won't be, your business or your job won't be ruined or taken or outcompeted by artificial intelligence. It'll be your competition using it. So what we're trying to do is say, look, you've got kind of 2 to 5 years really to get on board and really embed this, because what happens is that it's like a ship leaving the harbor. The gap you can jump, kind of make it now, but as that big ship begins to move away at exponential speed, and we're going to see exponential change over time, that leap is going to be harder to make, to the point where it's very difficult to make it. And once you are left on the key side in this new world, you're staying there. Now, robotics is slightly different. You're going to see artificial intelligence help humans to design better robotics. They're quite expensive now. It'll be like £1 million for a decent sort of robot. But eventually there'll be, consumer robots. They'll become cheaper, economies of scale. That's further out. That's more like maybe 5 to 15 years out, but that's also coming. And then eventually we get to a world where it's AI first, where everything is driven by AI. You will not trust a human. In fact, I advised quite a large automotive manufacturer, one of the largest in the world actually, so quite recently, and it probably will be illegal for humans to drive a car in a built-up area. You won't trust your human lawyer or accountant initially. You want them to check something, maybe for certain reasons, but it's going to be AI first. Humans will have far more faith in artificial intelligence in the future than they will do in our fallible selves. AI is, there's a big issue with AI people talk about is bias. So there's different types of bias really. There's bias which is built into these large language models. So if you think about, you read about ChatGPT or Claude, lots of them, the open source ones too, and they've been trained essentially, simplistically, on the internet, on human data that's available, even things like Twitter and Reddit. So human bias, the output of humans, and bias is embedded into everything we do. There's over 100 different types of human bias. So if you're training something on that content, then you're probably going to find that some of that bias finds its way into these platforms, into these large language models. And what they're trying to do and working really hard on is trying to eradicate bias. There are some platforms like Perplexity, for example, where they'll give you results, but also give you all the references for it as well, so you can check where it's coming from, where the bias is built in. But eventually, the beauty of AI, if you flip it the other way around, is that it enables us to eradicate bias in a way. Because take, for example, when you're employing somebody, there's a big issue on conscious bias and conscious bias. I advise Sky on diversity and inclusion. And how do you eradicate that? Now, with technology, you can, because you don't have to have, you can actually almost, they call them sort of fine-tuning the models, fine-tune them to eradicate bias. So when you're having a conversation with someone you want to hire potentially, that's taken out. The big one is, going back to your question, is business decisions. How do you take bias, human bias, out of business decisions? And what AI allows us to become, what AI is essentially down the line, is a ruthless optimizer of everything we do, both personally, personal AIs, and in corporates and organizations, the organizational, the corporate AI. Eventually, those two are going to talk to each other, and hopefully, in those communications, this is why the website and SEO might go away, because AIs will talk to AIs. We'll have to go and trawl over websites, but eventually, even bias out of purchasing will go away. One of the big issues with artificial intelligence is that it can be used for good, but it can also be used by bad actors. And increasingly, it already is being used by bad actors. And one of the sort of battlefields we're going to see is cyber. Now, I did a talk quite recently for one of the UK's, the world's largest actually cyber companies, top 5. And I was talking to senior management there, and we were talking about the cyber arms race. And I was saying, a lot of these, a lot of this malware in the future is going to be designed by AI. It's going to be very sophisticated. And they kind of looked at each other and looked at me and said, it's actually worse than that, Piers. The malware will be an AI. So you have some intelligence, essentially, something which has an objective and can sit inside your systems, your computers, your watch even. They can sit there with this objective and then work out a way to achieve the objective over time. Even you may not even be aware of it. So we're going to see this battle. Now, this is always going to happen in all technology. It's nothing new. But when you start talking about, artificial intelligence and maybe, quantum computing, then you're getting something quite serious. And the main danger, I think, out of AI, it's not the future of, robotic-looking android, humanoid androids, crunching over the skulls of defeated human armies. It's more about the fact that cyber criminals can use this in very, very, very dangerous and nefarious ways to harm people, both, especially financially, not just people, potentially whole countries and governments. Yes, AI policy is something that every company needs to embed, and my new business, Implement AI, something we actually do as well. And it's kind of an overall framework, and you can embed it into your business. And it depends what industry you're in. It can be quite different in regulated industries, for example, in healthcare, for example, in terms of data. So you have to have an overall framework. And the key to it is, though, it pervades everything. So you have a kind of a standalone one. What you're going to find, though, is that aspects of that and parts of that will need to be embedded into all of your policies. Everything from HR to maybe even holiday policy, whatever you've got. So a standalone one probably is the way to go. It's something which pervades the whole business, because essentially artificial intelligence will, and you may not know it, but employees now, there's research showing that 30% of employees are using AI in their jobs, in their day jobs. So you've got to be very careful that your company data, your personal data, your customer data is being treated correctly, and that people are using this technology in ways which actually add value to your business. And also, you've got to make sure that, this is why training is really important, your training policies, that people actually know how to use it. There's one thing having access to artificial intelligence, there's another thing is actually knowing how to use it. People know how to use it and in a responsible way that doesn't impact your business, your organization, its data security, or your customer data security, then you can actually add a huge amount of value to your business. Not allowing people to use AI, because they're always going to, it's called shadow AI, be like shadow IT, and not having the policy framework so they know what are the 4 corners of the box in which they can use it, is a dangerous plan, a dangerous way forwards. You need to make sure that people know your organization's approach and policies to using this extremely powerful technology.